In 2011, across all of the cereal crops, yields were up on average about 13%. The only crop that yielded less than the previous year was winter oats, and that was largely due to winter kill with the very severe winter last year. But looking at spring barley in particular, and we've been monitoring growth at Oak Park, then yields were nearly double in 2011 what was achieved in 2010. The high yields were really due to climatic differences. Both 2010 and 2011 had above average radiation, so above average sunlight during the main growing period. But 2010, we had a relatively cool spring, which is when the crop's producing tillers and forming ears, and then a relatively warm summer when the crop is trying to fill those ears. So the cool weather in the spring resulted in low ear numbers, and then the warm weather during the summer meant that those ears didn't fill very well. Whereas in 2011 we had a warm spring, crops produced lots of leaves, lots of ears, and then we had a very cool, much cooler than average summer with high levels of sunlight, which meant that the grains filled very well, resulting in large numbers of grains and large grains. Well, obviously there's nothing any of us can do about the weather in any one given season. We can only take what we're given. But it does indicate to us what we need to do in terms of managing the crop to try and replicate the growth that the crop put on in 2011. So we're looking, particularly with barley crops, to get the crop to form its leaf canopy early in the year and to produce lots of tillers. And we can adjust how we manage the crop, for example, ensuring that the crop doesn't run out of nutrition early in its lifetime, getting fertilizer on early, if there's any disease in the crop, making sure we control that early. And you can also use growth regulators in barley to reduce shoot death, which helps enhance ear number. Now obviously we can't, through management, lengthen the grain filling period, but through careful management of the crop, again, making sure it doesn't run out of nutrition late in the year, and also controlling disease on the upper leaves and on the ear, mean that we will get the maximum growth during the grain filling period. Well, the southeast of Ireland, the main tillage area in Ireland, actually has the highest yield potential of anywhere in the British Isles, and Ireland has over the last number of years produced the highest wheat yields of any country in the world, and the second highest barley yields of any country in the world. So we do have a very high yield potential. And people would estimate, obviously it's a calculation, but you would estimate that the yield potential, for example, of a wheat crop in Ireland, if we could get absolutely everything right, would be approaching 23 tonnes a hectare, compared to probably an average at the minute of just under 10 tonnes a hectare. So there's a lot of yield potential there to be had still. I suppose the reason we're not achieving those yield potentials at present is partly due to the varieties that we're growing. We're at the point now where there's a lot of knowledge of the genes and things that we have in our wheat crops. As we gain more and more knowledge of that, it will allow breeders to combine genes that give us varieties with a high yield potential. That's not necessarily through genetic modification, but just through conventional breeding using modern breeding techniques like marker-assisted selection, which is one of the things we're beginning to incorporate into the potato breeding and latterly the grass breeding programs at Oak Park. So that's really the biggest step, and then obviously we will have to update management practices to match those improved varieties. The key message that we were really trying to get across in the tillage conference today was that by monitoring crop growth and understanding crop growth and how the high yields were achieved, it gives us an indication of what needs to be done in terms of improving crops for the future, new varieties, and also in terms of updating management practices to achieve the high yield potentials that we have.